Hello friends, my name is Koolio and welcome back to the channel. Today guys, we're going to be taking a first look at the newest update to Knights Chronicle, update 1.1. However, before we get into it, I would just like to give a shout out and a thanks to the Hacked Fact, who drew an awesome picture of me as a knight over on our Discord channel, which I'll have featured here on the video. Now, if you guys want to share off some of your art and have a chance to have it displayed in one of my videos, make sure to click on the link down below in our Discord server and submit your art to our art channel. Now, not only that, I also want to remind you guys that we are sponsored by BLUESTACKS, which is how I'm playing this game. So make sure to go and click the link down below to download Knights Chronicle on BLUESTACKS. And let me tell you guys, the gaming experience is absolutely incredible playing this game on your computer. Okay, so now that we're actually in the game, let's go ahead and talk about the update. Now, there are 3 brand new heroes that were introduced to the game, along with a whole bunch of mechanical changes and PVE content. So we're gonna jump in, we're gonna talk about the new heroes, and then we're actually gonna try out one of these little adventure story modes, and then hopefully be able to summon one of these brand new heroes at the end of the video. Okay, starting off, the first hero I want to talk about is the Slaughterer Morgan. Now, she is a fire attribute attack type character that's very good at PvE and absolutely dominating the monsters through the PvE content. She's a beautiful character, but she's got a really interesting background story, which I highly suggest you guys go and read because it's a little disturbing. It talks about how she has a bloodlust for beautiful men, so be wary for this character. Next up is the wind attribute hybrid type character, the controller Callie. Now, I don't know too much about this character. I will go in, hopefully if I unlock her, to test out her abilities, but I presume that she's going to be a new PvP hero to go in and kind of control the battlefield and prevent people from doing a whole lot of damage on the battlefield, but we'll have to see once people actually get a chance to kind of test her out. And then finally, the last one is the dark attribute defense type character, the Undertaker Claw. Now, this guy looks absolutely amazing. He uses a freaking coffin as a weapon. Now, he is a defense type character, and I've actually been trying to find a new defense type character to swap out for my main team. Not saying that the one I currently have is that bad, but I do want to try to, test the waters with other defensive characters. So he's the one I definitely want to try out the most, and crossing my fingers that I unlock him first. Okay, now talking about the PvE content, they added a new adventure area, the area number 11, called the Dark Forest, which you can play on all 3 difficulties. So we're just gonna jump into it towards the end of this video on the easy difficulty, just to look at some of the story mode and all that other fun jazz a little bit later in the video. Now, on top of that is a new Advent dungeon where you can actually go up against Callie, the newest hero, on a difficulty of a 4-star. So it's gonna be pretty tough. So good luck to you guys for trying that out. Now, the other thing that I'm really excited for in this update is the rune transformation system, which I cannot tell you guys how frustrating it is to try to get the specific rune that you want for your hero. Now, with this transformation system, you can transform your runes into a random rune from the same set using enhancement stones and gold. Now, during the rune transformation, the rune grade will be maintained. So if it's a 6-star rune, it'll stay a 6-star rune. However, the enhanced level and these substats will be reset. So if you've got it to like a +3, +5, whatever, that will be reset down back to 0. And the substats on the rune will be reset as well. Now, there is a chance for the rune transformation to result in the same rune used as the material. Now, I was a little confused at first. However, I really do like where they're going with this because I have a couple of runes set on my green element for the runes that I want on my red. With this, you can essentially change it into a different color from red, green, or blue, and vice versa. So they give an example of someone taking a rune of protection and changing it into a green rune of protection so you can equip it onto a different slot, which I'm really excited to try this out because there's just that one rune that I need, but I've got like its brother or sister, in another set, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could just move that over to this one and be able to pop it in. So I'm glad that they finally added that. Now, on top of that, there is a bonus reward system for the summons. Now, how it works is depending on how many times you summon within a certain banner and a rate up banner, you'll actually unlock a free 4-star hero. I believe Morgan is one of the first ones that you can get. A 4-star new character of each of the rate up summons. So one of the 3 main ones, I believe, that are in the rate up banner. Now, I'm not sure. I'm gonna be testing this out later in this video. If you use the one where you can summon like 10 of them at once, if that counts towards this, I'm assuming it does. So we'll have to see if we get a free hero on top of that. Now, the last couple of things. I don't want to go through all the little minor stuff at the very bottom, but you can now purchase 200 stamina using 200 PAL points, which is super nice because I know a lot of us have been running out of stamina, especially kind of towards the higher ranks where you're not ranking up as much. So it's nice that we can actually exchange your PAL points for some of that stamina. Now, among the first prize of the PAL points, you can get enhancement stones, and they've been increased to 1,000. So instead of getting just like 300, you can now get 1,000 enhancement stones to be able to enhance up those brand new runes that you guys are going to be getting, especially if you're going to be resetting some of those other ones. There are some improved chat preview systems, details for the heroes. You can kind of jump in and get more. It just looks better to be able to look at the heroes and what their stats are. Improved achievement systems, daily logins have been changed and improved on top of that to let you know exactly what are some of the rewards coming in the future, and then just some small freezes and fixes and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and actually jump in and maybe take a look at some of these new heroes before we check out the PvE. So the first one up is the Slaughterer Morgan. So let's take a look at her active skills. So her first one is Carnivorous Sword. It inflicts damage equal to 100% of attack to one enemy with a 35% chance to cause bleeding for 30% of the attack for 2 turns, with her second ability being Bloody Petals Dance. Inflicts damage equal to 120% of attack to a target and 2 adjacent enemies with a 35% chance to cause bleeding for 30% of an attack for 2 turns, and will remove 1 buff from the target. And then finally, her ultimate, Surge Bloody Petal, inflicts damage equal to 300% of the attack that also ignores the defense of 1 enemy, and has a 60% chance to make the target unable to be revived for 2 turns. Decreases the cooldown of the skill number 3 by 2 turns if the attack fails to kill the target. So if she's not able to kill it, she gets crazy angry and charges back in there and tries to kill the enemy yet again. So that is pretty crazy. She's got a lot of bleeding damage, and then just finishing it off with that ultimate. Now let's talk about her passive abilities. The Demon Sword Petal, or the Demon Sword Bloody Petal, inflicts damage equal to 50% of attack to a bleeding target at the start of the turn. Increases the caster's attack by 10% for 2 turns when attacking a bleeding target, which can be stacked up to 5 times, and applies the status Demon Sword Bloody Petal to the caster upon killing an enemy to inflict 30% additional damage for 2 turns. So the more enemies you kill, the more enemies you cause bleeding, the more damage she's going to cause. Now, I've actually been considering making a full bleed team, like just tons of heroes that have the bleeding effect, to see how effective that can be in PvE, and she's definitely going to be my leader because she focuses heavily on making them bleed. And then her level 60 hero talent, 50% chance to apply Demon Sword Bloody Petal to the caster for 2 turns when attacking. Revives with 50% HP and becomes a berserker for 3 turns upon death. Guarantees counterattacks and multi-strikes, and decreases damage taken by 25% once the caster becomes berserker. Now, just to let you guys know, when she does become berserker, you can't control her for those 3 turns. She's just gonna auto attack, and I believe auto use her abilities as well, but I can't be for sure. And then her leader skill increases the fire allies attacks by 40%. So that would be really good to have. And I would take her through some of the Advent dungeons and stuff if you had a full fire team. Just give you guys kind of a heads up with that. Next up, we got Controller Callie, and I'm actually interested to check out her skills because I haven't yet. The first one is Shadow Dagger, inflicts damage equal to 100% of the attack to 1 enemy with a 35% chance to brand for 30% for 1 turn. Decreases the target's buff duration by 1 turn if the caster is hidden, which I'm assuming she's gonna have a passive along with that. Now, her second ability, Moonlight Shuriken, inflicts damage equal to 200% of attack to 1 enemy with a 35% chance to cause bleeding for 30% of the attack for 2 turns. Inflicts damage equal to 30% of the attack to 2 additional enemies and causes them to bleed for 30% of the attack for 2 turns if the caster is hidden. And then with the Dark Moonlight Strike, inflicts penetration damage equal to 300% of attack to 1 enemy. Inflicts 10% additional damage when attacking attack type enemies. Increases the caster's attack by 40% for 1 turn if the attack kills the target. So if you're going up against a team of a lot of attackers doing a lot of damage, like a character like Kayn, this would be a good character to go in and try to take that person out with that additional damage on top of it. Now with the Moon Shadow, it hides the caster for 1 turn at the start of the wave. 50% chance to hide for 1 turn when using skills. Poisons 3 enemies for 30% of an attack for 2 turns if the caster is hiding at the start of the turn. Now that's interesting. So the caster for 1 turn at the start of the wave, and then 50% chance to hide for 1 turn when using a skill. So I don't know exactly if she just overall has a 50% chance to hide every turn, or if she hides at the beginning and then as the battle goes on, she has chances to hide a little bit later. So we'll have to kind of test that out if we end up unlocking her. And then for her level 60 hero talent, activate Resolve upon taking fatal damage, recover 100% of the HP, and blind all enemies for 1 turn once Resolve is activated. Inflicts 40% additional damage when attacking a target affected by damage over time. So highly recommend getting her up to level 60 to be able to use that ability in the PvP. She's got a lot of really good, especially that blind on all the enemies for a single turn is really nice. And then for her leader skill, increase wind allies attacks by 40%. Okay, and then the last one is the Undertaker Claw. With his first ability, called Death's Arrow, it inflicts damage equal to 55% of attack to 3 enemies, with a 30% chance to taunt them for 1 turn. Now there is a 50% chance to decrease all attack by 30% for 2 turns if the target is taunted. So since that's his first basic attack, you're essentially having a 50% chance, roughly 80, 30, I don't know, you'd have to do the math, to taunt and decrease their attack. So it's good to have them focus on him. Focus solely on his defense, I'd say, for a character like this. And then Spirit Tomb with his second ability, inflict damage equal to 200% of the attack to 1 enemy, with a 50% chance to put the target to sleep for 2 turns, and a 35% chance to brand the target for the next 2 turns as well. Wow, that's actually really cool that he can put the target to sleep. That actually helps out a lot. I'll have to test this through some of the dungeons because that'd be really nice, or even in PvP as well. And then for his final ability, it's called Final Breath. Inflicts damage equal to 165% of attack to 3 enemies, with a 50% chance to apply Looming Death to targets for 2 turns if they have any debuffs. Applies Dirge Ghost Girl to the caster for 2 turns to grant damage immunity, penetration damage not included, however. If an enemy removes the Dirge Ghost Girl effect from the caster, the enemy falls asleep for 2 turns. Not only does he become immune to almost all damage, but if somebody happens to remove the effect from them, they will fall asleep as well. And those are going to be enemies that have high penetration damage or penetration chance to be able to break through his defenses. That is an awesome counter effect to somebody getting past his defense like that. That is really cool. I'm really excited to get this guy. And then his first passive, called Path to Peace, a 70% chance to taunt all enemies for 1 turn and apply the Veil of Phantasm to all allies, excluding the caster, for 1 turn if the caster is affected by Dirge Ghost Girl. And then the Spirit Trade changes an ally's lower HP ratio to that of the caster if the caster is affected by Dirge Ghost Girl at the end of the turn. Now that's interesting because that's a HP ratio. So if he's at like 80% and you've got somebody on your team that's at like 20%, I'm assuming you essentially heal them all the way up to 80. So you're really going to want to focus, I wouldn't say too much on the HP for a character like this because it is based off of his HP ratio. You're going to want to probably focus a lot on defense, just to kind of keep his health up there, especially since he's got kind of a defense against penetration attacks. And then his leader skill, increase Dark Wind allies defense by 20%. Okay, so we're actually already 15 minutes into this video. And so what I want to do is let's actually go ahead, we'll do the adventure mode later. We'll go through the PVE stuff later and maybe do a separate video for that. For this, let's just go ahead and jump into the summons. First off, we're going to start off with our free summon before we jump in and try to summon the other characters. Go ahead. I have just enough to do 10 summons, so let's pray for the luck right now, you guys. I never get anything good for the free summons. I usually just get rares. I get Titanus literally all the time. Okay. So I really want Claude, but at the same time, Morgan sounds so freaking cool. I'm gonna go for Morgan. She's got the summon bonus. Let's go ahead and do this. You guys cross your fingers, okay? Let's see if we can do this. Summoning. Let's see. Oh, I need hold on. I'm gonna go sell some heroes real quick. Okay, I had like way too many heroes in my inventory. So let's go ahead, let's try this one more time. Cross your fingers, guys. This first one is the one that will get us Morgan or not. I'm like super nervous. Please, please, please. Okay, we got the R. We got the SR, SSR, SSR. Come on. No! Oh, Hera. Oh, I already have her. The rest of them are just gonna be so lame now. Watch. Unless they ended up switching it around, because I know before, if you got an SR at the beginning, you're not gonna get an SSR. That makes me so sad, but we'll go through the rest of these and see if I get that guaranteed one at the end, if that works. Hello, Vincent. I swear I had this guy before. Maybe I don't. I know I've seen him before. Now we're on to our rares. Well, I'm just gonna go through and look at the rares as well, just to see what they are. I would skip it, but I'm assuming they're gonna give me a guaranteed 4-star Morgan. I don't know, maybe. I would really appreciate that. But we'll have to see how that kind of works. So we got Nettie. We got a lot of fire elementals coming in here. Next up, Naya. I don't think I've ever unlocked her. She looks new to me. I mean, all these are fodder anyway. I'm gonna get rid of a lot of these characters. I'm not gonna keep any of them around. Oh, William. I have like 3 of him. Then this is our last one. Gone. Close. Let's see. Summon bonus rewards. They got sent to my inventory. Now I'm assuming, like I said before at the beginning of the video, just because I did a full 10 summon like that, doesn't mean I'm gonna end up getting it. So it looks like, so by obtaining 1 summon tier, so now I've gotta do it even more if I want to unlock Morgan. So I've gotta summon a lot. But I like the fact that, because I know a lot of people get discouraged if they go in, they summon constantly, they don't get anything good. This kind of counterbalances that. So they're listening to their community. They're doing good, you guys. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Knights Chronicle gameplay videos coming in the future. See you, my friends.